We will not cower in the face of racism, bigotry, violence, extremism and hate.
The United Kingdom has been gripped by a wave of unprecedented violence, the likes of which haven't been seen in over a decade. The catalyst for this chaos was the tragic murder of 3 young girls at a dance class in Southport, a serene seaside town that has now become synonymous with one of the darkest chapters in recent British history. On the evening of July 29th, as the sun set over the quiet streets, 3 young girls, aged just 6, 7 and 9, were brutally stabbed to death at a Taylor Swift-themed dance and yoga event. What should have been a night filled with joy and laughter was instead marred by unimaginable horror, leaving a community shattered and a nation in mourning.
Multiple people, many of whom were children, had been subjected to a ferocious attack and had suffered serious injuries. It is understood that the children were attending a Taylor Swift event at a dance school when the offender, armed with a knife, walked into the premises and started to attack inside the children.
But the tragedy in Southport did not end with the loss of these innocent lives. In the days that followed, the UK saw a surge of violent unrest, spreading like wildfire across towns and cities from the north of England to the streets of Belfast. What began as a vigil to honour the victims quickly spiralled into a series of riots, fueled by a potent mix of misinformation, far-right agitation, and deep-seated anger. Mosques were attacked, cars set ablaze, and communities found themselves under siege. Police forces across the country were overwhelmed as they struggled to contain the violence, with over 100 officers injured and dozens of buildings destroyed. At the heart of this unrest lies a complex web of social and political tensions that have been simmering for years. The murders in Southport were the spark, but the fire was lit long before that tragic night. Here, we'll explore the underlying causes of the riots, delving into the rise of the far right in the UK and beyond, and examining how social media and influential figures have played a role in exacerbating these tensions. As the country grapples with the aftermath of these events, it's crucial to understand how we got here, and what it means for the future of our society. Welcome to the Global Insight.
We've got nothing about migration. We're not against migration. We're about controlling our borders.
The recent riots in the UK are rooted in a complex mix of economic hardship, social change, and political manipulation that has been brewing for years. The 2008 financial crash devastated many communities, leaving lasting scars of unemployment and austerity. As the country slowly recovered, immigration became a focal point of growing resentment, particularly in areas that felt left behind. The Brexit referendum in 2016 further intensified these sentiments, with its emphasis on controlling borders and reducing immigration offering a rallying point for far-right groups that had previously lingered on the fringes of British politics. The COVID-19 pandemic then added fuel to the fire, deepening economic insecurity and providing fertile ground for misinformation and conspiracy theories. In this volatile environment, the horrific murders in Southport became a flashpoint. False claims linking the attacker to immigration and Islam quickly spread online, stoking the flames of anger and leading to a wave of violence across the country. These riots are not isolated incidents, but the eruption of deep-seated frustrations that have been building for years, driven by those who seek to exploit them for political gain. The rise of the far right is not confined to the UK. It's a global phenomenon that has gained momentum over the past decade. Across Europe, the United States, and even in traditionally liberal countries like Canada and Australia, far-right movements have capitalised on economic uncertainties, cultural anxieties, and fears about immigration. These groups have skillfully harnessed nationalist rhetoric, often scapegoating immigrants and minorities to build broad-based support. In Europe, countries like Hungary, Poland, and Italy have seen far-right parties gain significant political power, often by promising to protect national identity and sovereignty. In the United States, the election of Donald Trump in 2016 was a watershed moment, signalling the mainstreaming of far-right ideas that had once been considered fringe. The global surge is interconnected, with far-right leaders and movements often sharing strategies, ideologies, and even financial support across borders. The recent riots in the UK are part of this broader trend, reflecting the global rise of far-right extremism and its increasingly disruptive impact on societies worldwide. At the heart of the far-right resurgence are a number of influential figures who have played a pivotal role in shaping and spreading reactionary ideologies. In the UK, individuals like Tommy Robinson, Nigel Farage, and even mainstream politicians such as Suella Braverman, Priti Patel, and Boris Johnson have contributed to the normalisation of far-right rhetoric. Tommy Robinson, the founder of the English Defence League, has long been a vocal critic of Islam, using social media platforms to amplify his message and mobilise supporters. His influence extends beyond the UK, as he frequently collaborates with far-right figures across Europe and the United States.
We're losing our culture, losing our identity, we're being replaced. We feel like, we're becoming minorities in most major cities. We're being driven out of our own country, driven out of our own towns.
Nigel Farage, former leader of the UK Independence Party and now an MP in Parliament, played a crucial role in the Brexit campaign, using anti-immigration sentiment to galvanise public support. Farage's ability to blend populism with nationalism helped to bring far-right ideas into mainstream political discourse.
There were masked Muslim extremist mobs, some with weapons, going around the streets of Midlands and northern cities, threatening journalists literally running away.
Similarly, Suella Braverman and Priti Patel, both prominent figures in the Conservative Party, have been criticised for their hardline stances on immigration and asylum policies. Their rhetoric, often echoing far-right talking points, has further blurred the lines between mainstream conservatism and far-right extremism in the UK.
Get ready to see Tommy Robinson MEP and a surge of the far right.
Donald Trump's influence on the global far-right movement cannot be overstated. His 2016 presidential campaign, built on slogans like "Make America Great Again" and inflammatory rhetoric against immigrants, Muslims, and minorities, provided a template for far-right leaders worldwide. Trump's willingness to embrace conspiracy theories, his attacks on the media, and his disdain for democratic norms have emboldened far-right movements across the globe. Even after leaving office, Trump has continued to be a rallying point for far-right activists, particularly through his endorsement of nationalist and populist politicians in other countries. These influencers have effectively used social media to bypass traditional media gatekeepers and connect directly with their followers. All in all, social media has become a powerful tool for far-right movements, offering a platform to spread their messages, recruit followers, and organise actions with unprecedented speed and reach. In the UK, the recent wave of riots underscores the destructive role that social media can play in fueling violence. Platforms like Facebook, or Twitter, now X, and YouTube, which prioritise engagement through algorithms designed to maximise user interaction, have inadvertently amplified hateful and xenophobic content. This amplification has turned these platforms into breeding grounds for extremism, where misinformation spreads rapidly and the most incendiary voices rise to the top.
We're saving the kids, we're stopping the boats, we're closing the borders. Look how mad we've all gone. This is real women, this is lionesses, this is the lion roaring. I'm not racist and I don't give a fuck what you say.
Big tech's algorithms, which are driven by the need to keep users engaged, often prioritize sensational content that provokes strong emotional reactions. As Amnesty Tech's Deputy Director Pat de Bruin pointed out, these toxic algorithms act as incendiaries, fueling division and hate by pushing inflammatory content to wider audiences.
Facebook played a role in the atrocities that this community suffered. In fact, they prioritise and promote and amplify the most harmful types of content. And this investigation shows that that included incitement to violence and hatred against the Rohingya.
The riots in the UK are a stark example of this, as false claims about the Southport murders quickly gained traction online, sparking a wave of violence across the country. The consequences of this digital radicalisation are far-reaching, with social media playing a central role in translating online hate into real-world violence. Elon Musk, the billionaire entrepreneur behind companies like Tesla, SpaceX and X, formerly Twitter, is one of the most influential figures in the tech world. Known for his visionary pursuits and controversial statements, Musk has become a powerful voice in both business and social media, often using his platforms to sway public opinion and ignite debates. His influence extends far beyond the tech industry, with millions of followers hanging on his every word, making him a significant force in global discourse. Recently, Musk made headlines with comments directed at Sir Keir Starmer, the Prime Minister of the UK, during the ongoing riots. Musk accused Starmer of leading the country into a civil war, a statement that quickly went viral and sparked widespread debate. His remarks were seen not only as inflammatory, but also as fanning the flames of division during a time of heightened tension in the UK. Critics argue that Musk's comments, amplified by his massive social media following, have contributed to the polarisation and unrest, demonstrating the dangers of unchecked influence wielded by powerful individuals in the digital age. As the UK grapples with the aftermath of the recent riots, it's clear that the country is at a crossroads. The rise of the far right, fueled by economic insecurities, social media amplification, and the influence of powerful figures, poses a significant challenge to the fabric of British society. The events of the past weeks have laid bare the deep divisions that exist within the nation, divisions that have been brewing for years and have now erupted in violence. Looking ahead, the question remains: how will the UK address these underlying issues? The government's immediate response has been to deploy a strong law and order approach with increased police presence and swift legal action against those involved in the unrest. While this may restore a semblance of order in the short term, it doesn't address the root causes of the discontent that has driven so many to the streets. Without meaningful action to tackle economic inequality, improve social cohesion, and regulate the spread of hate and misinformation online, the risk of future unrest remains high. Moreover, the global nature of the far-right movement means that the UK's challenges are not isolated. Countries around the world are facing similar struggles, with far-right ideologies gaining traction and threatening democratic values. The future will depend on a concerted effort, both nationally and internationally, to confront these forces head-on. This will require not only robust policies and regulations, but also a commitment to rebuilding trust within communities, addressing the grievances that have been exploited by extremists, and ensuring that the digital platforms that have played such a pivotal role in this crisis are held accountable. The road ahead is uncertain, but what is clear is that the status quo is no longer sustainable. The UK, like many other nations, must reckon with the forces that have been unleashed and take decisive steps to chart a course towards a more stable and inclusive future. The recent riots in the UK have exposed the deep and persistent fractures within society. What began with the horrific murders of 3 young girls in Southport has spiraled into a nationwide crisis, revealing the dangerous confluence of far-right extremism, economic despair, and the unchecked power of social media. As the dust begins to settle, it's clear that these events are not merely an anomaly, but a symptom of broader, more systemic issues that have been left to fester for too long. The rise of the far right, both in the UK and globally, is a challenge that demands urgent attention. The forces driving this movement, economic inequality, cultural anxiety, and the exploitation of digital platforms, are deeply entrenched and will not be easily dismantled. Yet if there's one lesson to be drawn from the chaos of the past weeks, it's that complacency is no longer an option. The future stability of the UK, and indeed the wider world, depends on the willingness of governments, communities and individuals to confront these challenges head-on. As we move forward, the path to healing will require more than just punitive measures. It will necessitate a renewed commitment to social justice, the regulation of harmful online practices, and a genuine effort to bridge the divides that have been so ruthlessly exploited. The stakes could not be higher. The time to act is now. If we fail to learn from the lessons of the past, we risk condemning ourselves to repeat them, with even more devastating consequences. That's it from the Global Insight. Let us know what you think. Have you been affected by far-right violence? Do you agree with the far-right and understand their fears? Let us know in the comments. And as always, don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel here at the Global Insight. And until next time, stay tuned.